let's go. Let's get the GPS on. It's 369 kilometres, 3 hours and 48 minutes.
We can do it.
We'll see.
Earlier on this year, Mrs. Coleman and myself headed off to the interior of British Columbia to attend a wedding and afterwards take a short break touring wine country. As per usual, the satellite navigation system had us all confused before we'd even left the cul-de-sac, but before long we were on the Trans-Canada Highway heading east into the early morning sun towards a region known as the Okanagan. Our first stop was at a one-horse town called Hope, where we found a greasy spoon diner called Rollers, which is apparently a motel restaurant. The cuisine was certainly a trifle unfortunate, but by sheer luck we had happed upon the meeting quarters for the British Columbia chapter of the Flat Earth Society. We declined the offer of sticking around for a meeting, and after admiring a chainsaw carving by a local indigenous artist and taking a picture of a mountain with a pointy top, we were back on the road and headed for the municipality of Kelowna. Can somebody tell these cyclists that there is absolutely nothing for the next 130 kilometres? Upon arriving in Kelowna, we checked into our hotel where we were given a room with a view. Well, a room with half a view. And the half view that we had overlooked a swimming pool, something that Mrs. Coleman and I are not used to. Well, we're off to a wedding, so got to spruce up a bit. I can't wear a t-shirt, so I'm thinking about going like this. You like the tie? The wardrobe choice was overruled, and after a quick change we headed off to the wedding, which was set in a vineyard on the banks of Okanagan Lake. Did I mention that it was hot? I cannot tell you how hot this is right now. This is going to be close to 40 degrees. No wonder they can go grow grapes. This is the hottest I've been this year. And it's so intense, I got to get back in the shade and inside that winery and sample some of their wares. This is insane. And sample their wares we did. The wedding went extremely well, but before long it was time to say goodbye to some old friends, get a good night's sleep and get back on the road towards our next destination, which would be Oliver. This is Oliver, the wine capital of Canada. Not only is Oliver, BC, the wine capital of Canada, it's also home to Mrs. Coleman's Auntie Joy, who we're going to be staying with in her small mobile home for the next couple of nights. Wine is a serious business in the Okanagan, so it's up to people such as Mrs. Coleman and myself to continue to support it. We decided to visit the aptly named Oliver Twist Estate Winery to taste some of their fruitful offerings. After snapping up a few bottles of their best plonk, we're on our way down the road again to visit the next cork-popping shrine, Silver Sage Winery, where we were hosted by a very friendly German lady.
This is nice and dangerous. Oh. Pinot Blanc with cranberries and raspberries. This wine tastes like Kool-Aid.
Oh, that could be dangerous. Mrs. Coleman, let's get lost in the sunset. And so we did. After a few more glasses of wine and a quick trip to the local pub, it was time to retire and await the new day. At dawn, I arose alone. Leaving Mrs. Coleman to sleep in, I needed to reconnect with a love affair that had started a quarter of a century ago. So I took the road alone to a nearby town, enabling me to spend some time with the past.
Back in the early 1990s, when I first came to Canada, I saw this view and I fell in love with it. It's the South Okanagan. The town of the Sawyers and the Sawyers Lake. We're right on the US-Canada border. Every time I come to the South Okanagan, I have to look at this view. It's so beautiful.
The south end of the lake is in Washington, one of 4 states to share a land border with British Columbia, the other 3 being Idaho, Montana and Alaska. The north end of the lake runs through the municipality of the Sawyers and into the Okanagan Valley. For good wine, we also need other fruits, and in the Okanagan, you're never too far away from an orchard. But for me, it's the wide open vineyards that draw my attention.
The grapes here go on for miles, and I mean miles and miles and miles.
And miles and miles and miles. I rejoined Mrs. Coleman and Auntie Joy, and we headed back to the town of Oliver, where... Did I mention that it was hot? After cooling down and bribing the local wildlife into posing for the camera with a bag of chips, it was time to say goodbye to this wonderful region. For the time being, at least. And so sadly, we were on the road home, back to life as we know it. Sorry, British Columbia, back to reality. Although things are not all that bad. We did bring home some souvenirs from our journey, a lot more than are on display here. Oh yes. And so...
Glass of wine, Mrs. Coleman? Cheers.
If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave a comment, hit the like button and subscribe.